We're going to create a banner ad today. So if we check our research about what is the most successful sizes for a banner ad for a computer, it's the three hot pink ones. And we're going to do the large rectangle, which is 336 pixels by 280 pixels. And let me show you an example of where we're going with this. If we go to Adobe Illustrator, we're going to use the Bear logo and we're going to draw a background for it using an image. And then we're going to assign some text to it. So to do this, the first thing we need to do is to create a new Illustrator document. And when this pops up at the top, select Web, because we are creating a file for web. And if we look to the right, you can go ahead and title this banner ad. And if we look down at our pixel size, let's refer to what the most successful pixel size is. So again, that would be 336 by 280 pixels, 336 by 280. So we are going to type in here 336 by 280 pixels. And if we look down a little bit, see this where it says raster effects? This is where it's helpful. When you're creating a document for the internet, you need to save at 72 pixels per inch. And that's the low resolution, and that's what's good for your files to flow fast on the internet. If we were creating a file for print, like a billboard, we would do it at 300 pixels per inch, which is a much higher resolution, which is needed for printing. Printing is high resolution. Computer or digital is low resolution. So pick screen 72 pixels per inch, or PPI, and then you're going to hit create. You'll see it's about this size. The first thing we're going to do is place that background image of trees for us to trace. So file, place, and find the trees that we downloaded. And it's important that we're using an actual photograph, not another artist's drawing, because it's copyright infringement to just copy or trace over another drawing. We have to find a photograph. So I want you guys to kind of figure out which arrangement looks good. You know, what kind of, how you want to kind of space this out. I wanted to get, maybe you want some of the green in the front of it, maybe you don't, maybe you want the trees. I think this ought to be good. Okay, when you do this, lock it in place. So go to Object, Lock, or you can just hit Control-2. So now we should, oops, that did not work. Lock. So now when I trace, I won't mess with it. We're going to use the pencil tool, but this is really important with your pencil tool, that first off, that you're working large, that you're not working small. And you want to make sure that when you select the pencil tool, you double click on it, and you want the fidelity accurate. With these trees, it will look horrible if you have it on medium or smooth, and let me show you why. This is the wrong way to do it, the wrong way. If your pencil is on smooth and you work tiny and you're like, okay, here I am tracing, and you do something quick and you're working small, and then you fill it in, that doesn't look like trees. That looks absolutely horrible. To get detail that looks like trees, and you can see from the one I drew, in order to get this kind of detail on your trees, you have to select your settings on your pencil right. So double click and make sure it is on accurate. Then blow up your image really large so you can see these little details. I don't want to see a small tree. This image should fill up your screen. And then you're going to take your pencil and you are going to very carefully trace all your trees. You can go ahead and pause the video here and then start back up when you're done tracing your trees. So I've done tracing my trees, and if I show you, you can see they're quite detailed. I'm going to move this layer out of the way so I can now trace my grass. Again, take your time with this. So now I've traced my grass. I'm going to put that in position and move my trees back. Notice how I've gone outside the layer or outside the rectangle. This is going to be important. Make sure whenever you're tracing, you go outside this rectangle of your banner ad because we're going to mask it in the end. So you want it to kind of extend from the boundaries. Now let's, oh, and if you're wondering how I got these colors, if you click on your object and then double click on your square, you can use the magnifying glass to, excuse me, you can use the magic, what is this called? This is the eyedropper tool, and you can click on your picture and it will pick up any color that the eyedropper is on. So it took me a minute to kind of find the right green, but that's how I found the green that I liked. If you want a custom color, double click on the square, and then you can go around and choose what color you want. To do the mountains, I had to use a lot of creativity. You're not going to be able to just trace the mountains. Also, for the mountains, change your fidelity. You want smooth mountains, so change them to the middle. If you, the middle or even over here. And press OK. So when I'm drawing my mountains, let me go back to my other version. Move the text out of the way here. So when I drew my mountains, they create what is called atmospheric perspective, meaning the mountain in front is going to be darker than the mountain in the middle, which is darker than the mountain in the background, which is darker than the sky. That's very important for you to create this effect. You'll also have to, as you're drawing, organize the order of your layers. So to do that, you might have to do object arrange. You might have to send it backwards or possibly object arrange, bring it forward to get your mountains in the right order. The last thing you're going to do with your sky is you will create a gradation for your sky. To do that, when it's selected, you'll have to pick the gradient tool, and you'll see this little box appear. To change these colors, if you click on one of the colors, you can go ahead and change your colors to what you would like. And then to change the gradient, remember, you can pull these, or you can also turn the direction by hovering, and you can turn the direction of your gradient. So make sure your sky has a gradient. And if you look outside, you'll notice the top of the sky is always darker than the bottom of the sky. So make sure your sky is darker on the top and lighter on the bottom. When you're done drawing, you need to get your logo in. So how I would do this, let's open up your logo file. I want you to click Control A to select all, and then we're going to group it. Group, Control G. Then copy it with Control C, and let's do Control V to paste it. You'll need to size it, so find a reasonable size and place it on your ad. The next thing you want to do is get your text. So you are going to type your text in. Of course, you're going to need to come up with a slogan and find an appropriate font for it and move it into place. And when you're all done, the last thing is that you will draw a square or rectangle directly over your picture. And this is to create a mask. And then take your mouse and select everything while that rectangle is on top. And then you go to Object and scroll all the way to the bottom to Clipping Mask and Make. Yay! You should be saving this as you go. If you've named it correctly, you can hit Control S frequently to save it. And it's saved as a banner ad.ai Adobe Illustrator file. But to turn it in, you're going to need to do to File, export or save for web. Web files need to be saved as JPEGs or GIFs, which is why you have those two choices. Save is a JPEG high, and then press save, and you can save it to your H drive, but you'll see that it will save as a JPEG for you, and so you're going to turn in your JPEG. Thank you very much. Let me know if you have questions.